hello, everyone, and welcome to the NFL version of ProLine, direct from Las Vegas, the gaming capital of the world. It's week 4 of the NFL season. I'm John Cran, joined by Las Vegas cappers Hollis Barnhart and Zach Simony. Going to take a look at some upcoming games for the week 4 schedule, including that Monday night football game. First, let's tell you what we have going on. A lot of red-hot winners have been taking place. Start with you, Harvard, a 34-18 run with all picks since August 1st. On Saturday, you gave everybody your first college game of the year, that underdog game of the year. And boy, you didn't have to sweat it with Cal, in addition to your best bets on the show, which are a perfect 4-0.
Well, I tell you what, the best bets, 4-0, like you said. And Cal, I love that play. In fact, I mentioned last week on the show would be the closest team to a double-digit upset of any team playing last Saturday and probably for the year on something that big. We were taking double digits, and going into the fourth quarter, it was an absolute blowout with Cal. But things changed. Even though it covered and got the money, it did not win straight up. Arizona was forced to rally for 36 fourth quarter points, and somehow they did that and won the game by 4. But you were sitting there. Can you imagine calling the score phones or going online and seeing what the score was at jimfeist.com and seeing that you're up by 32 points going into the fourth quarter? TV show, I was 2-0-1. And this week, I'll tell you this, I'm changing gear. In sports betting, you have to be adaptable. Last week, I gave a huge underdog. This week, I found a blowout on Saturday college games. It's my blowout game of the year. And I'm also going to have another one that I love, an underdog, an upset game of the month, shocker, and my NFL game of September. So this could be one of the biggest finishing of any month. And look to go 3-0 on those 3 games.
All right, speaking of winning selections, Zach, you're 3-1 with best bets right here on the show, and your stuff online, boy, 7-4 in the NFL, even though it's September, and college football, you're also in 10-2 to start the year. How can folks get aboard for your stuff going this weekend?
Well, college football was phenomenal last week. Went 4-0. All 4 plays were non-sweaters. Texas State plus 14 against Illinois. They were leading majority of that game before fourth quarter collapse. Still covered easily, losing by a touchdown. South Florida was my Friday night special. They had a big lead against their opponent, and then they were able to hold on and win. And then Penn State was my blowout pick of the week against UMass. Was 47-0 before UMass even scored any points. And the point spread on that was 27, so that line was way off. And then my total of the week was with Utah and Michigan. The under lines opened up at 56 when I posted it. Before game time, it was down to 53. Final score was 26-10. So an easy under there. Found really 4 good plays right there. I'm going to look to do the same this week on jimfeist.com.
Okay, very good. And speaking of Jim Feist, he's off a 3-1 run here with college games of the month. And like you, Harvard, he's 1-0 with college games of the year. He had his Avenger game of the year going last Saturday. That was Memphis, 12-point favorite. They won 36-17 over Middle Tennessee State. He also had a winning NFL Sunday, including 2-1 with totals. This week, Jim has a 3-pack as an early release. 3 college football games for the price of 1 going Saturday. The first release is a 9 a.m. Pacific time start. And then he also has his NFL Thursday night game of the month between the Giants and the Redskins. You can get these plays and more at jimfeist.com. And if you want to go to the website, see that football in the lower left column, that is, you don't put that on your head. You click on that to go to jimfeist.com. All right, guys, let's go to our first game in the NFL. It is a Sunday game, Buffalo Bills at the Houston Texans. Texans open 4-point favorite now, down to 3. Totals also dropped from 42 to 41. It's a pair of surprise AFC teams, both 2-1, and they're both off thumping losses, their first losses of the season. I'll start with this Buffalo Bill offense. You know, despite the 2-1 record, they're still a one-dimensional offensive team, 12th in the NFL in rushing, just 27th in passing. E.J. Manuel has a nice ratio of 3 touchdowns to 1 interception, but still after 3 games, 1 touchdown per game. They certainly don't look for him to lead the offense. And like on Sunday, when they had their first loss, they got behind and they just couldn't come back from passing the football. 22-10 loss. The thing that's impressive about the Buffalo defense, though, is they've been awful against the run the last couple of years, despite a very good pass rush last year. And this year, they're very good against the run, now ranked 6th at stopping the run. So their defense seems to be improved. So Harvard, here we have a long road trip for Buffalo heading out to Texas. And I wonder, are we going to find out whether the Bills are pretenders or contenders in the AFC East?
Well, I think they're contenders. First of all, I want to say I had Buffalo last week, though that was a solid rock star loss for me. And, I just couldn't believe it. There were so many factors why I liked Buffalo last week. I felt like an idiot at the end. But you know what? I'm still a big Buffalo fan. And E.J. Manuel, I love him. C.J. Spillner, I really think that they have the balance. But here's the problem. They're not getting the ball to Sammy Watkins enough. They've got to get the ball out downfield and get the balance that you're saying that they don't have. This guy's only had 13 catches for 167 yards this entire season. They have that huge offensive line. There's no way that they can not get pass protection, get the coverage downfield. And also for this game with Houston, that would negate Houston's defense. On the bad side of Buffalo, as you said, they're 26th in passing. But then again, Ryan Fitzpatrick is not exactly the quarterback that you have to be in the top 10 in order to control the defense, to keep Ryan Fitzpatrick and the offense off the field. He's only had 3 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. So that really leaves one thing if you're looking for a technical for handicapping. They got the 6th ranked. Buffalo has a 6th-ranked defense versus the run. So can Andre Foster do it all by himself? I don't think so. Last week against the Giants, Houston was just 2-12 on 3rd downs. I think it's a no-brainer. I'm going to stick with my Buffalo Bills one more time, taking the points, and I think you can get 3.5 points on the road.
He's taking a strong stand there with Buffalo, and Buffalo loses a game. If you like to look at trends, they're 9-3 against the spread after a straight-up loss. On the other hand, when they have a double-digit loss at home, they're 0-7 against the number that next game. They're also 3-8 ATS on the road. You have this Houston team, new coaching staff with Bill O'Brien. They're coming home this week from a 2-game road trip. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the new quarterback. Come off that 30-17 loss to the Giants road trip to the East Coast. They had a lot of yards, 411, but they got behind and had forced Ryan Fitzpatrick to throw more, and he ended up with 3 interceptions. Not having the ground game with Arian Foster certainly helped. So this Houston team is on a 6-14 spread run. They're also 2-7 against the spread at home. So, Zach, are these Texans, are they improved under this new coaching staff at this early juncture?
I would say defensively they're not. And defense takes time. But offensively, even though they struggled against the Giants, I think there's a little bit of hope on the offensive side of things. And the key in this game to me is looking at the quarterback for the Houston Texans, Ryan Fitzpatrick. This guy's been a career backup journeyman. Started off with the Rams, the Bengals, and then this is the big point here, the Buffalo Bills. This was the team that brought him in with the J.P. Losman era. When that ended and he beat him out, and they offered him a huge contract. I think it was like 5 years, $60 million. And it just collapsed from there. Once he got the big contract, he didn't play the same, and the Bills ended up cutting ties. He ends up in Tennessee last year. Got some starts when Jake Locker went down, and he showed enough that the Texans brought him in and signed him. So those Buffalo members are definitely in Fitzpatrick's mind. To him, 32, 33-year-old quarterback, his last chance to sign is here with the Texans. He might get one more opportunity as a backup, but this year is it for him, in my mind. And with Arian Foster's health in question, I think they're going to go look to throw the ball a little bit more. The biggest key last week with Ryan Fitzpatrick was the mistakes that he made before halftime in the second half. The game was manageable, down 7-0, and he just threw a costly pick. They were just 3rd and 17, something like that, on the 5-yard line, their own 5-yard line, and threw a costly interception that really swayed that game. But in between those mishaps, it seems like he has a little bit of chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins and Andre Johnson, and the Bills' secondary hasn't really lived up to its expectations. And either had the Texans, like I mentioned when I first started off, the Texans' defense has been awful against the run, awful against the pass. So I really think this line is a little bit too low on the total side of things, 41. So I'm going to look to play the over here, and I expect Ryan Fitzpatrick to offset last week's 3 interceptions.
Okay. And let's not forget where Ryan went to school.
He went to the Big H, right up there.
There it is, right there. I got it,
In my high school in Gilbert, Arizona.
Is that
right?
Really? Well,
all right.
You've been all over the country then. Yeah. Well, I'll take a look at the total too, and I'm going to look at an under in this one because it's a pair of run-first teams. Buffalo determined to stop the run this year, and so far they've been doing it, and I can't see them asking a lot of this kid quarterback, so I see a conservative game plan from Buffalo. And then Houston, boy, they're going to be facing a Buffalo pass rush that was number one in the NFL last year, and after what happened last week against the Giants, I can see him perhaps going in max protection here for Fitzpatrick after all those interceptions last week. I wouldn't be surprised to see a conservative game from both teams. Buffalo Bills are on a 4-0 run under the total in September, and the Texans are on a 4-1 run under the total, so I would lean toward that, a small play on that.